Hi, how are you?
Good.
Is this our third one?
Fourth.
Fourth. Okay.
Fourth episode of Rainy Stating Murders.
Okay. Which covers most of the Northwest,
Washington, really.
Washington. And we are covering a solved cold case.
Her name is Tracy Whitney. I'm
Okay.
taking you back to 1988.
Okay. Is this when the crime occurred, when she
Yes.
disappeared?
hmm
Okay. And when was she found?
I will get into all that.
Okay.
Oh no, because she was found the next day. It didn't get solved until recently.
Okay.
So her name is Tracy Whitney. You might hear the dog is playing in the background. I apologize. We also have one between us that might try to jump on us. Hey, come here. Oh, she's camera shy all of a sudden. She's my side. She got camera shy.
Let her bother you.
She got camera shy all of a sudden. If you see the white tail, that's her.
Oh, there's her face. That's our bruiser.
That's my wildebeest, as I call her. So, Tracy Whitney. She was born March 12th, 1970, to Ronald and Wendy Whitney.
Okay.
She had a younger sister named Robin. So, she went to Decatur High School in Federal Way, which is not too far from us.
No, it's about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes.
She played soccer with the Federal Way Soccer Association, which actually named a tournament after her in 1989.
Okay.
So her sister Robin remembers her sister as someone she looked up to. Tracy was 7 years older, but the two were very close. They liked to play in their neighborhood and dig for clams at Diamond Point.
Huh. Can you dig for clams
Back
at
then,
Diamond Point?
back then, yeah.
Yeah, I was to say, I don't think you can now.
No, because there's more regulations into digging clams in general.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much you're allowed to dig.
Well, it's kind of like there's a place in Federal Way called Dash Point. Is it in Federal Way or is it Des Moines?
Both. It's kind of both.
Yeah, and there's
well, because you have like Dash Point that's connected to like Redondo, so
yeah,
it's
they're
like both.
they have tons of sand dollars, but you're not allowed to take them.
So
they'll fine you.
Oh yeah, they will. So she was born in 1970. She on August 28th, 1988, Pierce County deputies. So that is the county next to us. Responded to a call of a body found in the Puyallup River near Sumner. Fishermen had located the body of a woman who was nude where the Puyallup and White Rivers meet. That's according to the sheriff's department.
Yes. And it's called the White River because it actually looks white.
Especially in the summer.
Yes, it actually looks white.
And it's fast.
Yes, it's a fast-moving river.
Like up top and the undercurrent. It's a fast-moving river. So detectives were called to the scene following the body's discovery. And the reason I haven't said Tracy's name yet is because they actually did not know it was her. So I will tell you all about that. At this point, detectives had no idea the identity of the Jane Doe. An autopsy was performed, revealing that the woman's cause of death was asphyxia caused by strangulation and probable smothering. She also had several blunt force injuries and was believed to have been sexually assaulted. Her death was ruled a homicide. 2 months later, so that is October.
Okay.
Jane Doe was identified through dental records as 18-year-old Tracy Whitney.
Okay. So, what did Tracy's parents?
So she was reported missing.
Okay.
But her body was that severely disfigured that they could only identify her through dental records.
Okay. So her parents did report her missing, and they just never
connected it.
Okay. We had that many people missing at that time that they didn't connect it?
Well, think about it. It would happen in Puyallup. She would disappear in Federal Way.
Yeah. That's not that far.
But it kind of...
I guess back then there wasn't agencies talking to each other like there is now.
No. Especially if they consider her a runaway because she was 18.
Yes. Another time we're talking about people saying they're runaways.
So, according to detectives, she was last seen at a Burger King in Federal Way. So Federal Way and Puyallup, as my mom has said, they're pretty close together.
Yeah.
They're Pretty close. Reports stated that she had been arguing with her boyfriend prior to leaving. Less than 24 hours later, she was found dead in the river.
Yes, but they didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Multiple people who knew Tracy were interviewed, including friends, family, boyfriend, and anyone else who had previously dated her. The investigation stalled for 2 months, for another 2 months, and then it went cold.
Okay.
So we're talking this case went cold at the end of 1988.
Okay.
And,
but was there DNA on her?
Well, she was sexually assaulted.
Okay, so there's DNA on her.
We'll get into this.
Okay.
Her case was just solved recently, in the last couple of years.
Oh my God.
At the time, Pierce County deputy detectives tried to develop leads as they searched for whoever was responsible for her murder, trying to gain any leads because there was no leads in this case.
Okay.
But despite collecting DNA samples from her body that presumably belonged to the killer, investigators were unable to pinpoint a suspect.
Okay.
Thankfully, these investigators had the foresight to preserve the DNA.
Yes, because back then DNA wasn't DNA.
And 9 times out of 10, they didn't preserve them.
Yeah, they didn't know what DNA was at that time.
So her family never stopped fighting for answers, and they kept Tracy's memory alive. They basically were harassing
the police. I bet.
Well,
wouldn't you harass if your kid was killed?
So what's sad is I think her mother had died before this case was solved. I think she had died quite a while ago, so she never knew who killed her daughter.
Okay. Well, that happens. Mm-hmm. A lot of times they say this.
So despite keeping the memory alive and all this, the family had very little hope of ever getting closure. Her dad recalled, "I came to the conclusion that the only way we were going to find out what happened or who murdered my daughter was if he walked into the front door of the police station himself and turned himself in."
Yes. Okay. Like that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So the pain of losing Tracy remained constantly on their minds. Her dad commented saying that it's something that never leaves her mind every day. "I don't think the grief will ever go away. It's the first thing I think about in the morning. It's the last thing I think about at night." Tracy's sister, Robin, who was 11 at the time of the murder, reflected on the impact of the case, when they were interviewing her after the suspect was revealed. She said, "For the longest time, I just felt like the girl whose sister was murdered." She recalled her sister's trusting nature, saying she was trusting, she was emotional, she was 18, and not making the best decisions. So that and it depends on the crowd she was in, so that's why I think police never connected it, because if they weren't making the best decisions, hanging out with the wrong people, boyfriend.
Yeah, but it always isn't the boyfriend. It always isn't the best crowd. But I'm not saying I don't know who did this murder, because she's kept that from me. So I have no idea who murdered her.
We weren't even going to do this case today because I was going to give you this originally.
So
we're kind of short.
Yeah, we're short on time today.
So as Robin and Ronald showed, a lot of this information came out after the suspect was named, because they didn't like talking about Tracy. Even though they wanted her memory kept alive, they did not like talking about Tracy because it brought too much pain.
Yes.
So they showed a news affiliate these old photos of Tracy. They said that they remembered the happy girl who always had a sparkle in her eye. Robin said shortly before her death, she felt like she was only truly beginning. Tracy was only truly beginning to know who she was.
Yes.
Because at 18, you really don't know.
No.
I'm 28 and I'm just figuring it out.
Yes.
So following the loss of what Robin described as her protector, she vowed to avoid talking about Tracy, not to her friends, her father, and eventually her daughters. So her daughters had no idea who their aunt was until recently.
Oh, that's sad.
Saying that I didn't want to think about what had happened to her and what was her last moments were like and how scared she must have been. Saying that I'd also have to think about everything we missed out on as sisters and how unfair that was. She believed the case would likely never be solved, and thinking of all the what ifs only brought fresh waves of grief and frustration. But roughly 10 years ago, Robin's father, who had also avoided speaking of Tracy for decades, finally told her that police recovered a DNA sample from the crime scene in 1988. The news gave Robin hope, more than she had had since the case went cold, and she slowly began sharing stories of her sister with her daughters.
Oh.
She also learned that her father had visited the sheriff's office several times since the murder, hoping to revive the investigation.
Oh.
Because they weren't even investigating. It's literally, has anyone ever seen the show Cold Case, where they have all the boxes and stuff and they pull them out once they start getting someone? That's literally what this was that it was the family fighting for them to reopen this case, even though they had no hope.
Yes.
So in 2005, the sheriff's office briefly renewed efforts to solve the crime by updating the DNA sample to the FBI's National Genetic Database, CODIS. So, kind of like what we were discussing with Amber Hagerman in Grim Geography, CODIS.
Yes.
So, CODIS is very hard, especially because it was only accepted in 2003 by all the states, and so this is 2005.
Yes.
They decided to resubmit Tracy's DNA swabs after new technology became available. The sheriff's office said that despite that, it yielded no results. So the assailant had no other crimes under their belt enough to be added to CODIS.
Yes. That doesn't mean that he has not committed other crimes.
So, and something else we talked about in Amber, genetic genealogy cracked the case in 2022.
Did it really?
Uh-huh.
See, this is what I'm talking about. If you think you have people in your family that have committed crimes, don't give your mouth to DNA on those genetic sites.
Or do if you don't like the person.
Yeah.
I fully support that. If you don't like the person, submit your DNA.
Yes.
How we catch killers and how a lot of cold cases are being solved now.
Yes. So, like I said before, the Golden State Killer is one of them.
So this is actually what made her dad. That's actually what made her dad go after the police officers some more. So, as I said, genetic genealogy cracked the case in 2022. Ronald Whitney noted how significant developments in other cases inspired hope for his daughters, citing when the Golden State Killer got busted. I said, "This is it. This is the break that we've been waiting for."
Yes.
So
now,
mind you,
nobody knows what the Golden State Killer is. He terrorized California for years, raping,
wasn't he
killing.
Like retired?
Yeah. And people thought he was a grumpy old neighbor, and he was fit as a fiddle. When he was brought into court, he was in a wheelchair acting like a feeble old man. Sympathy.
So
he's in prison right now for the rest of his life.
So she was murdered in 1980 and took until 2022 to crack the case.
Yes.
So brief overview of genetic genealogy. Because there are other cases on the podcast I do want to look at on both podcasts about genetic genealogy. So it is a combination of DNA analysis. It's a combination of DNA analysis and family tree research. It is a relatively new field of study that gained prominence as hobbyists began looking into their family history, and especially during COVID. This became a big deal during COVID.
Yes, big thing.
It has since expanded to a forensic method used by law enforcement to crack cold cases. In 2018, it led to the arrest of the Golden State Killer, and it recently helped solve more some other cold cases, including a 1974 murder in Wisconsin and a 1988 murder in Pennsylvania. So in 2022, a grant from the State Attorney General Office, so that would be Ferguson, our current governor, was the State Attorney General. Yes. And he is one of the biggest advocates of solving cold cases.
Yes.
So his office would do anything that they could to help people. Honestly, like, he is probably, like, you can say what you want about his politics, but he is known to be one of the most nicest, genuine people.
Yes.
You can say what you want about his politics, but that he just, as a person, he was always for families, keeping families together. Anything he could do to help, he would do it. So this grant allowed the sheriff's department to submit DNA evidence to a lab for forensic genealogy analysis. So there's only a very, very few labs in the country that do this. So the sheriff's department finally had a lead. 36 years after Tracy's death, the sheriff's office used lab DNA to identify John Gollett Jr. As her killer. Parabon Nano Labs in Virginia. So that is actually the main
one
that actually started this. In Virginia, was able to trace the suspect's family lines to the 1700s. Wow. So you're pretty screwed if they get a hold of your DNA. So they finally had a name, but the ending was bittersweet for the family.
Was that name ever in was that in her file anywhere?
No.
Okay. So he wasn't a suspect. He wasn't a friend. He wasn't the boyfriend. He wasn't anything.
No.
Okay.
So 9 times out of 10, they say if someone is murdered,
they know him.
They know him. You look at the people in their life.
Yeah.
This is one of the very few cases where she came across the wrong person at the wrong time.
Okay.
So, and I will get into that because this is actually kind of very interesting with him.
Okay.
So it was a bittersweet ending for the family. No arrest would be made or could be made because he died in January 2022.
So right before they discovered he was dead.
8
Tell
months.
Me he suffered.
8 months before authorities got the results back and connected him to the murder.
Did he die of painful death?
I want to say it was cancer. So to confirm,
I know I'm a terrible person.
I don't think you are. So to confirm he was the killer, detectives had to compare his DNA to the sample they had collected from the crime scene in 1988. That wasn't possible due to his remains being cremated.
Okay, did he go to a family member?
However, the genealogy lab findings led investigators to his biological son, John Gollett III. The son had also recently died, but the medical examiner's office had his DNA on file. After further genetic testing, detectives confirmed his father was a match for the suspect's genetic profile, according to the sheriff's office. Since he died before he was identified as the perpetrator, his profile could not be uploaded to CODIS to see if he was responsible for any other crimes. Though records show he was questioned in connection to the death of his girlfriend in 2010 and the death of his wife in 2020. He was never arrested or charged with either crime. He is a winner. He's an absolute winner.
Oh my God. So he's suspected of killing his girlfriend and his wife.
Yeah.
And he killed this 18-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
You can't judge. He may have not killed his girlfriend. He may not have killed his wife. But he's suspected.
That's enough for me.
I'm hanging his ass out to dry.
So the Pierce County Sheriff's Office said there were no connections between Tracy and him, and detectives believe this was a stranger abduction, rape, and murder. So this is what they said at the time when they were announcing that her case had finally been solved. The case is now officially closed and classified as clear exceptional death of offender. While the identification of a suspect brings some closure, the Whitney family continues to grapple with their loss and lack of a complete resolution to a case that has haunted them for 35 years.
Oh my gosh.
So, they said that the biggest thing is they'll never find out the true story of what happened.
Why he did it, what he did.
Robin said, "In my head, I imagined that we'd be going to court, and I'd be sitting in the courtroom, looking him in the eyes, and watching him get sentenced to death or life in prison."
Yes.
It's she says, kind of an empty feeling because now we know who did it. We know some of the background on him, but we'll never find out the true story of what actually happened. Robin.
Yeah. You don't even know how they met? You don't know how they ran into each other. You don't know how she ended up going with him, whether he forced her. You don't know anything.
Robin had been waiting nearly almost her entire life to learn the killer's identity, but the discovery surprised Robin in other ways. She said the overwhelming, well,
are you tongue-tied a little bit, honey?
Just a little bit. The overwhelming support that we've gotten from the community that we grew up in and the general public interest and attention that she's getting feels like justice in a way. People are talking about her and they remember her and they miss her. On the other hand, he didn't face the criminal process, so he got away with it.
Yes.
So Robin continues saying, since the news that Tracy's case has been solved, 30 years of locked up emotions came out all at once. I grieved her as a child, and now I'm grieving her as an adult. I'm allowing myself to feel all of it, though it's uncomfortable and I'm sad, but it's an emotional relief that I needed. So Tracy's father and sister both remember her as a sweet, good kid who had been dearly missed since her death. Robin says they are happy that Tracy can finally rest peacefully now that her killer has been found.
Yes.
So, in a social media post, and so the reason I am talking about this is because the family wants us to.
Okay.
Saying that in a social media post, Robin added, we believe that John Goulet Jr. likely committed other crimes. However, since he is deceased and due to current legal restrictions, his DNA cannot be uploaded into CODIS. We hope that this policy can be reevaluated as it can aid in solving additional cases.
So his son is dead, so they can't upload that, and that's his only child.
Mm-hmm.
So what about a brother or sister? I'm talking about the killer's brother or sister. Couldn't they upload theirs if they wanted to?
If you had any.
He's an only child?
We don't know. They don't know. They never revealed that. So they want to honor Tracy's memory and raise awareness of his name, which may potentially lead to information about other unsolved cases. Because her family wants his name out there. They want people discussing his name, talking about his name, because everyone fully believes he committed other crimes prior to Tracy and after. So they're hoping that if it gets enough attention.
When did his girlfriend die? Before or after Tracy?
2018, and then 2020.
Oh, so it was after.
Well after.
So there could be tons of cases between between her, between Tracy and the girlfriend.
Even just between Tracy and his death, and who knows about what before.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how old he was when he died.
No, we don't.
So he could have been 15, 16, committing crimes. We don't know any of that.
No. And they didn't tell us?
No. So
that's kind of crappy.
So the family wants his name out there. They want people talking about it because current legal restrictions, if a person is deceased, they can't give consent to having their DNA uploaded to CODIS.
They can't?
Yeah. Even though he is dead, he killed her.
His family can't do it?
But Mom, what's to say that he has family still alive?
Yeah.
So that's what this comes down to. So it's a big deal, and so they're hoping by keeping his name out there, bringing attention to this, they can get those restrictions reevaluated to enter his DNA and his son's DNA into CODIS.
Yeah.
So Robin does though wonder what their relationship would have looked like as they grew up.
Yeah.
What they missed out.
She was 7 years older than her.
Well, evolved as they grew up, and she saying that she was just young, and it was just really unfair what happened to her. She just missed out on being an aunt. I have two daughters that are also 7 years apart, so I see my sister and me and my own kids.
That's kind of sweet.
But so this is kind of, they want the family. It was just solved 3 years ago. They want people bringing attention to this case because these restrictions.
I guess if my brother said he was a serial killer,
would you want to know?
I guess I'd want to know. I guess I'd give up my DNA.
But
yeah, but would I? I mean, I don't know. But if it would save some families some heartache, I guess I would.
But also, hypothetically, what if you've also committed crimes that you got away with?
Yeah, definitely not.
So, it was shocking when I read this case because, it popped up. If you look, it we have a cold case database here in Washington. Some states have it, some states don't. It's actually kind of interesting. We have a cold case database. Where they talk about all the open cold cases, even ones that have been solved. This is one of them. 35 years later.
35 years. And at least her dad lived to see it.
And her sister.
I'm
sad her mom did not get to see it, but I think both of her and Tracy can rest peacefully now.
Yes.
Knowing that
it's a great story to be solved. It just shows that anything can be solved.
And it also shows what genetic genealogy can do.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of scary to think about, too.
It is. It's definitely kind of scary. Okay, what are we doing next week? Ooh, could we do the 4 officers that were killed in Washington at the coffee shop?
I think I have something, though, I thought we were doing.
Okay.
Then we can do that. There might be a week here coming up where we might not upload, just fair warning, because I will be out of town, and I don't know if I'll have good reception at a hotel. Yeah.
So, but we'll try to keep on top of it, and we'll be doing some extra shows so those can be posted on dates that were not available. So
we do apologize for a shorter one, but yeah, we are kind of just short on time.
Yeah.
We do have a longer one that I want to film.
Okay. Well,